Hello students, myself Seenabi Nair, Assistant Professor, Bharat Institute of Law, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research, Salute Children. Today in this session, I would be discussing about judicial review of administrative action. So far, we have seen what is the meaning of administrative law, what are the reasons for the growth of administrative law, what is mean by delegated legislation, what are the reasons for the growth of delegated legislation, what are the methods by which delegated legislation can be controlled, then administrative adjudication, administrative discretion. Now, let us in this session discuss judicial review of administrative action. So, what is mean by judicial review? What is mean by administrative action? Would be discussing first, then by one, how this judicial review of administrative action can be done. The remedies available to an individual. So, we know that administrative law deals with the powers, functions, and functions of the administrative authorities, the procedures followed by them, and the limits of their powers, and the remedies available to a person when his rights are violated by administrative authorities. So, judicial review of administrative action. Let us see. In today's era, administration plays an important role in every individual's life. We know that government has three organs, that is executive, judiciary, and legislature. So in today's era, administration plays an important role in every individual's life. The subject of administrative law remarkably expanding to meet the changing demands of new political, economic, and social conditions. So we know that administrative law, so far we have seen the role of administrative law. So administrative law plays an important role in individual's life. It changes, expanding to meet the changing demands of what is called changing demands of economic, and economic, and political conditions. So now let us see the meaning of administrative action under administrative law. As administrative law was recognized as a separate branch of discipline in the mid of 20th century in India until well into the 19th century, the responsibilities of the state was a few unlimited, consisting of the maintenance of public order, the conduct of foreign affairs, and the disposition of the demand of the armed forces. So we have seen that while studying the reasons behind the growth of administrative law, we know that the traditional role of state was to maintain law and order. So with the growth of administrative law, with the growth of with the change of years, with the changing time, the role of government has been also changed. So in the interest of protecting the public and maintaining law and order, the state intervenes in the lives of the citizens to a considerable degree. The actions which are carried out under administrative law now are called administrative actions. So the meaning will come to the meaning. Administrative action means actions carried out under administrative law are called administrative actions. Administrative action is a legal action which is concerned with the powers, concerned with the, just a minute, concerned with the conduct of the public administrative body. So this kind of action can compel an authority to take a certain action. So an administrative action is called is a legal action which is concerned with the conduct of public administrative authority. So the principles of natural justice cannot be ignored while exercising administrative powers. Next is judicial review. Meaning of judicial review. Judicial review has been classified into what is called is recognized as a necessary and basic requirement for the construction of an advanced civilization to safeguard the liberty and rights of citizens. So the liberty and rights of citizens are guaranteed by the law of each country. In order to protect them, judicial review was recognized as a necessary and basic requirement. The power of judicial review in India is significantly vested upon the High Court and the Supreme Court of India. So we already know that we have studied constitution. We have seen the types of writs. So the power of judicial review in India can be vested upon High Courts and the Supreme Court of India. Judicial review is the court's power to review the actions of other branches of government, especially the court's power to deem invalid actions exercised by the legislative and executive as unconstitutional. So we know that governmental functions has been classified into three, that is executive, legislative and judiciary. So judiciary's function is to check the actions of the exercised by the legislative and the executive. It has to check whether their actions are unconstitutional or not. Broadly speaking, judicial review in India deals with the judicial review of legislative actions, judicial review of administrative actions, judicial review of judicial actions. So, judicial review is the court's power to check the actions of other branches of the government, that is executive and the executive and the legislative, whether and check whether its actions are unconstitutional. So judicial review in India can be studied under three heads: a judicial review of legislative actions, judicial review of administrative actions, and a judicial review of judicial actions. Now, grounds of judicial review. The doctrine of ultra vires is the basic structure of administrative law. It is considered as the foundation of judicial review to control actions of the administration. Ultra vires refers to the action which is made in an excessive manner or outside the ambit of the acting party. So, ultra vires is the basic structure of administrative law. So anything beyond powers which can be held to be invalid or inactive or null. Okay. So the doctrine of ultra vires is the basic structure of administrative law. It is considered as the foundation of judicial review to control actions of the administration. So if an administrative authority doesn't have power exercise beyond powers, the judiciary can control its actions. Ultra vires refers to the actions which is made in an excessive manner or outside the ambit of the acting party. So beyond powers is called the ultra vires. So if their actions are ultra vires, judiciary can intervene. Judicial can review the actions. Generally, the grounds of judicial review in India are follows: jurisdictional error, irrationality, procedural impropriety, proportionality, and legitimate expectation. So, on these grounds, judicial review can be done. Okay, so what is mean by jurisdictional error? What is mean by irrationality? What is mean by procedural impropriety? What is mean by proportionality? We will what is mean by legitimate expectation? We will check one by one. Okay. So what is mean by jurisdictional error? The term jurisdiction means the power to decide. There might be a lack of jurisdiction, excess of jurisdiction, or abuse of jurisdiction. The court may reject an administrative action on the ground of ultra vires in all these situations. So jurisdiction means power to decide. There might be a lack of jurisdiction or excess of jurisdiction or abuse of jurisdiction. So the court may reject an administrative action on the ground of ultra vires in all these situations. What is meant by lack of jurisdiction? Where a tribunal or an authority exceeds its power, okay, has no power or jurisdiction at all to pass an order. Not exceeds, it lacks its power. It doesn't have power or jurisdiction to pass an order. The court may review this administrative action on the ground that the authority exercised jurisdiction which was not supposed to. The power of review may be exercised on the following three grounds. So, judicial review can be jurisdictional error can be reviewed by the judiciary on the following grounds: that the law under which an administrative authority is constituted and exercising jurisdiction is itself unconstitutional, that the authority is not properly constituted as the law requires, and that the authority has mistakenly decided a jurisdictional fact and henceforth assumed jurisdiction which did not belong to it first. Okay. So on these three grounds, judicial review may be exercised. So the law under which administrative authority is constituted and exercising jurisdiction is itself unconstitutional, that the authority was not properly constituted as the law requires, and the authority has mistakenly decided a jurisdictional fact and henceforth assumed jurisdiction which did not belong to it. So lack of jurisdiction without any power, if an administrative authority take an action, it can be reviewed by the judiciary. So it is one of the ground of judicial review of administrative action. Now let us see. Excess of jurisdiction means wherein the authority initially had the jurisdiction over a matter, but then it exceeded afterwards, its actions become illegal. So beyond powers, excess of powers, they have power, but they are exceeding their power. It is called the excess of jurisdiction. So this can happen in the following situations: when an administrative body continues to exercise jurisdiction despite the occurrence of an event ousting the jurisdiction, or when it is entertaining matters outside its jurisdiction, okay, exceeding its jurisdiction. And all administrative powers must be exercised bona fide and fairly. If the powers are abused, it will give rise to a ground of judicial review. So an administrative authority should exercise its function bona fide and fairly. It should not abuse its power. So abuse of power may arise in the following conditions: that is, improper purpose, error apparent on the face of record, in bad faith, fettering discretion. Then last one is non-consideration of relevant material. So an abuse of power may arise in certain conditions, that is improper purpose, when an authority uses its power for a different purpose, improper purpose. Then error apparent on the face of record means when it can be ascertained by examining the record without having to recourse to other evidence. Then in bad faith means without good faith, without good intention, where an administrative authority has acted dishonestly by stating to have acted for a particular motive, when in reality the decision was taken with some bad motive. Fettering discretion means when an authority adopts a policy in the case of in the exercise of its powers, which means that it is not actually exercising its discretion at all. The non-consideration of relevant material. When a decision maker does not look into the relevant matter, it can be said that the abuse of power. Now, irrationality or Westbury test. A general established principle is that the discretionary power conferred on an administrative authority should be exercised reasonably. A decision of an administrative authority can be held to be unreasonable if it is so outrageous in its defiance of logic and prevalent moral standards that no reasonable person who had applied his mind to the subject could have arrived at it. So, general principles is that discretionary powers conferred on the administrative authority should be exercised reasonably. Irrationality was developed as a ground of judicial review in the case of Associated Provincial Picture House versus Westbury. So, in that case, this irrationality was developed as a ground for judicial review. That is Associated Provincial Picture House versus Wednesbury, and which later came to be known as Wednesbury test. The court laid out three conditions in order to conclude the right to intervene. In arriving at the decision, the defendant took into the consideration the factors that ought not to have been taken into, or the defendant failed to take into consideration the factors that ought to have been taken into, or the decision was so unreasonable that any reasonable authority would consider it a then next one is procedural impropriety. That is, it is a failure to comply with the laid down procedure. So irrationality. What is mean by irrationality means the discretionary power should be exercised reasonably. Okay. Then next is procedural impropriety means failure to comply with the procedures. That is called the procedural impropriety. Ridge versus Baldwin is an exclusive case where procedural fairness shows that in its instance on the judicial review, irrespective of the type of body determining the matter. Ridge, the chief constable of Bragton, was suspended on the charges of conspiracy and to obstruct the course of justice. Despite the clearance of allegations against Ridge, the judge made the comments which criticized Ridge's conduct. Following that, Ridge was dismissed from the force, but he was not invited to attend the meeting which had decided his dismissal. Later, he was given an opportunity to be heard before the committee which had dismissed his appeal. Ridge then appealed to the House of Lords that the committee had totally violated the rules of natural justice. This case has been important because of the emphasis on the link existing between the right of a person to be heard and the right to know the case brought against him. So Ridge versus Baldwin is a dismissal of this is a case relating to the dismissal of a chief constable. So this case has been important because of the emphasis on the link existing between the right of a person to be heard and the right to know the case before the case brought against him. Next one is proportionality. Proportionality means that the concerned administrative action should not be more forceful than it requires to be. Principle of proportionality implies that the court has to necessarily go into the advantages and disadvantages of the action called into question. Unless the so-called administrative action is advantageous and in public interest, such an action cannot be upheld. So, if it is advantageous and in the public interest, it can be held to be valid. So, such an action cannot be unless the so-called administrative action is advantageous and in the public interest, such action cannot be upheld. This doctrine tries to balance means with the ends of ends. Courts in India have been adhering to this doctrine for a long time, but courts in England started using it after passing the Human Rights Act 1998. So India have been adhering to the doctrine for a long time, but in England it was recognized, it was started using it after passing of the Human Rights Act 1998. In the test of proportionality, the court quashes exercise of the exercise of discretionary powers in which there is no reasonable relation between the objective to be achieved and the means of achieving it. So, administrative action should not be more forceful than it requires to be. Hind Construction, an example, Hind Construction Company versus their workmen. Some workers called for a holiday and remained absent. They were later dismissed from service. The court held that the workers should have been warned and fined instead of abruptly being dismissed in a permanent manner. It was out of the question to think that any reasonable employer would have given such an extreme punishment. So, some workers, they were absent on a particular day So they were dismissed from service for 1 day's absence. They were not considered, they were not heard, they were not given an opportunity of being heard. So they suddenly they were dismissed from service. So it is called the proportionality. So the action should be taken against those people because they have taken a leave without informing. So they could have give them some punishment in some other form, but without giving a simple punishment, they have taken an extreme step. Next is what is called the procedural impropriety. Procedural impropriety means next is we have seen procedural impropriety. Then next is legitimate expectations. This doctrine serves as a ground of judicial review to protect the interest when a public authority resigns from a representation made to a person. So a legitimate expectation arises in the mind of a complainant who has been led to understand expressly or impliedly that certain procedures will be followed in reaching a decision. So there is a chance that legitimate expectation means there is an expectation in the mind of complainant who has been led to understand expressly or impliedly that certain procedures will be followed in reaching out a decision. Where an individual, two considerations determine legislative expectations. Where an individual or group has been led to believe impliedly or expressly that a certain procedure will apply, where an individual or group relies upon a particular policy or guideline which was previously governed as an area of executive action. In Regina versus Liverpool Corporation ex parte Liverpool Taxi Fleet Operators Association, the corporation had given undertakings to the effect that the taxi drivers what is called the taxi drivers license would not be revoked without proper prior consultation, but the corporation acted in the breach of its undertaking. The court ruled that the taxi drivers have the right to be consulted. Next one is remedies. So we have seen the grounds for judicial review. What are the remedies? 5 types of writs are available for judicial review of administrative actions. Under Article 32, you can approach Supreme Court. It is a fundamental right itself. Then Article 226 of the Constitution, you can approach High Court. So the remedies are habeas corpus, then mandamus, then quo warranto, then prohibition, and the certiorari. So one by one, let us see. These are called the writs. That is habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, certiorari, and the prohibition. So it means habeas corpus means to have the body. This writ is issued as an order calling upon the person to produce the detainee before the court of law. If the court finds out that the detention was illegal or without legal justification, it will order for the immediate release of the detainee. The main objective of this writ is not to punish the detainer, but to release the detainee from wrongful detention. So, if a person has been wrongfully detained, he should be released by asking the detainer to release the detainee. It won't punish the detainer, but to order him to release the detainee from the wrongful detention. Next one is mandamus. Next one is mandamus. It means to command the public authority to perform its duty. It is a command given by the higher courts to the government, inferior courts, tribunals, corporations, authorities, or any other person to do any act or refrain from doing an illegal act. Means mandamus means to command the public authority to perform its duty. It is a command given to public authority. Public authority may be government, inferior courts, tribunals, corporations, or authorities, or any other person to do any act or refrain from doing an illegal act. So the purpose of this writ is to compel the performance of public duties and to control over the activities of the administration. Next one is quo warranto. Quo warranto means by what authority such writ is issued against a person who usurps a public office. So we will check if a person is occupying a public office without any authority. That is, we will check him by issuing quo warranto. Quo warranto means by what authority the court directs the concerned person to show by what authority he holds that office. Unauthorized or illegal usurper would be removed by judicial order and the right person belonging to it would be entitled to it. So that is quo warranto. Next one is prohibition. Prohibition is issued by a superior court to an inferior court or tribunal or body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial functions to prevent them from exceeding their jurisdiction. It is based upon the maxim prevention is better than cure. Prohibition is issued by a superior court to an inferior court or tribunal or body exercising judicial or quasi-judicial functions to prevent them from exceeding their jurisdiction. That is called prohibition. It is issued by superior court to an inferior court or tribunal for exercising judicial or quasi-judicial functions to prevent them from exceeding their jurisdiction. Next one is certiorari. This writ is issued by the superior courts to the inferior court or tribunal or body which may exercise judicial or quasi-judicial functions for the correction of jurisdictional or an error of law committed by them. If any order passed by them is illegal, then the superior court may quash or demolish it. So, certiorari is issued by the superior courts to the superior courts may be high courts and supreme court to the inferior court or tribunal or body which may exercise judicial or quasi-judicial functions for the correction of jurisdiction or error of law committed by them. So if any order passed by them is illegal, then the superior court may quash or demolish it. The grounds of this writ are excess or failure to exercise the jurisdiction, violation of principles of natural justice, then authority has failed to correct an error which has been apparent on the face of record. That is about the certiorari. So let me check one by one. We have seen what is meant by judicial review of administrative action. What is judicial review? What is administrative action? So we have seen grounds on which judicial review can be entertained. That is, we have seen irrationality. Then we have seen what is called just a minute. Jurisdictional error. Then we have seen what is called the grounds on which judicial review in India are jurisdictional error, irrationality, procedural impropriety, then proportionality, then legitimate expectation. On these grounds, judicial review can be entertained. That is jurisdictional error, irrationality, procedural impropriety, then proportionality, then legitimate expectation. So what is jurisdictional error? Jurisdictional error means a lack of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction means power to decide. There must be lack of jurisdiction or excess of jurisdiction or abuse of jurisdiction. Lack of jurisdiction means The court may reject an administrative means tribunal or authority had no power. Whereas excess jurisdiction means authority had a jurisdiction over it, but it exceeded the and afterwards its actions become illegal. That is called the excess of jurisdiction. Next is abuse of jurisdiction is abuse of power may arise improper purpose, error apparent on the face of record, then in bad faith, then fettering discretion, then non-consideration of relevant material. Next one is irrationality. So, administrative authority should exercise its power reasonably. It is called the irrationality. So, if it is unreasonable, it can be called as it can be reviewed by the judiciary. Next is procedural impropriety. So, failure to observe certain procedures, it is called the procedural impropriety. Then proportionality means the court has to necessarily go into the advantages and disadvantages of the action called into question unless the so-called administrative action is advantageous and in public interest, such an action cannot be upheld. This doctrine tries to balance means with the ends. Next, we have seen legitimate expectation. Then we have seen remedies available under Article 32 and Article 226. Article 32, we can directly approach the Supreme Court for your fundamental rights violation. Then there are writs. Article 32 and 226 of the Constitution. Article 32, Supreme Court. Article 226, the High Court. The kinds of writs are habeas corpus, mandamus, quo warranto, prohibition, certiorari. So, one by one we have seen what is called the mandamus, habeas corpus, to have the body, mandamus to command the public authority, then quo warranto, what is your authority? Then we have seen prohibition, then certiorari. Prohibition means to prohibit the lower court to prohibit from exercising jurisdiction, judicial or quasi-judicial function. Then certiorari means for the correction of jurisdiction or error of law committed by lower courts or tribunals. That's about today's session about the judicial review of administrative actions. Thank you so much.